Statistically, psychology statistically says second marriage has 67% chance of failure in the
It's
second
not
marriage.
automatic that this will work.
Second marriage, there is a 67%
Wow.
chance that it will fail. In fact, it is more riskier than the first one. There are some situations at the end of the day, the children benefit better by the two of them going.
Okay.
What do I mean? There is a kind of union that cannot raise well-adjusted children. Marriage demands maturity, physical maturity, emotional maturity, and of course, financial maturity.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me again on what promises to be an exciting and eye-opening episode of AskPastorD. My name is Chinonso Chekwers, and as always, it's an honor and a privilege to always host AskPastorD. Today, we'll be having a very sensitive but yet important conversation that borders around marriage, conflicts in marriage that sometimes leads to separation, divorce, and the hope of continuity after that, probably remarriage. As always, my name is Chinonso Chekwers, and I have with me in the studio the convener, the founder of AskPastorD, Pastor Daisy Alabi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chinonso. It's good to be here again and to have you do this very sensitive conversation.
Yeah, like we always say, it's not my show, so that's where the conflict is. I always have to say the thank you for letting me host your show.
Okay, thank you for agreeing to host this show with me. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Like I said in my opening, this is a very sensitive conversation, and the hope is that a lot of people will get answers, will get clarity from this conversation we're about to have, and I'm hoping we can do justice to it in the little time that we have. So let's start by laying a foundation for the conversation.
Yeah.
What exactly marriage is, or let me say, what exactly was God's plan for the union, for the system that is marriage?
Thank you very much. I want to start this very sensitive conversation by laying some ground rules. I've always said, and I stand to maintain that, I never claim to have all the answers. Yeah. I never claim to know everything. I just believe there are things that by God's grace over the years have been positioned by grace and by experience and by knowledge to be able to speak to. So what we're going to be speaking to today should not be seen as somebody saying this is the final position on these things. I'm saying them based on the light available to me and what I consider to be an educated knowledge and opinion on these matters, and to a long extent, my bias, of course, as you always know, towards the scripture. So those are the things that we need to put in place as we have this conversation. I've always believed that, number one, marriage was never man's idea. Judging from how we're introduced to it, it was God's idea. And that for me is what defines it. And that for me is what makes it so important. If it's not man's idea, if we didn't ask for it, if it was the initiative of God, then if we're going to run it, if we're going to succeed in it, if we're going to make it accomplish that which was in his mind when he instituted it, then we have to do it by his rules, by his principles, by his ideas. We will get into trouble, we will run to brick walls when we want to put our own idea, our own initiative into something that was not originally our idea. We will run into dark spots. My people from the Southwest, Yorubas, will tell you that that is, if the night does not fall in your presence, it will be very difficult for you to navigate the darkness. So this whole thing did not start with us. It started with him. If we're going to make it work, therefore, we have to rely on his own principles and his own ways, his own pronouncement on how it has to be. So that is very important for us to set the foundation so that we understand what we're speaking to. So God's idea, all about, and he said it plainly. What is this all about? I'm going to make it an institution to make man's life easier. That's what he said. I'll provide an helpmate so that your life becomes easier to do what you have to do, because that statement was made from a position of observing what was going on and something was missing. And so marriage was a provision to provide or to attend to something that was lacking in that system that man has. So make life easier, have companion, be able to procreate and fill the earth and subdue it. Those were the things that God set out to do. And for me, that is always the guiding principle. Marriage is meant to make life easier.
Okay, based on that now,
Yeah.
was marriage set up by God as an order? Was it a command? Or was it, what else will I say? If it was not a command, was it a suggestion by God? Or did he command us that we have to marry?
Now, that's from also speaking to where we saw it. It wasn't a commandment.
Yeah.
It was a provision. It was a provision. Provision in the sense that if his plan for us are going to be fully actualized, then this provision is needed to make it happen. Now, as we grow, as we increase, because the original idea is that we must fill the earth, and the provision of marriage ensures that that happens.
Okay.
As we grow, as we populate, as we increase, we have come to a place now where somebody can say, okay, I don't want to. Now, if you say I don't want to, I don't think you are disobeying. Like I said, it wasn't a command, it was a provision. So now it is optional. And that's what I tell people. You don't have to. If you look at the conditions that are attached to doing it, if you look at the things that have to be in place to make it happen, and you don't think you are ready to go by those things or pay the price or whatever, you don't have to. So if you don't, you have not disobeyed. That's the way I see it. But it's a provision that you can have. And now you have the right to say, I want to have it or I don't want to have it.
All right. So help us to juxtapose this idea or this provision made by God and how the marriage institution is seen in an African context. Because we make it seem like you have to be married.
Well, in African context, I would say it's driven by, you need to understand that Africans are spiritual people. We are more spiritual. And because of our spiritual inclination, we tend to see things much more than from just the physical or the logical aspect of it. So for Africans, marriage is something that is very important because we believe in generation. We believe in ancestry. So a man believes that if I have children, somebody is supposed to take that lineage forward to the future. So if that is going to happen, then my children have to get married. That is what drives most of this African belief that you have to get married. It's from that angle. They are not looking at it from economic side of it or the social side of it. They are looking at it from the ancestral side of it. This line must continue. This name must continue. This family must continue. This generation must continue. I think that's what drives this quest by Africans to say, get married. Other people they are not driven by ancestry. They are not driven by ancestry. So, I mean, people move, you can, in fact, it's so funny in their own side that their society is fluid. Ancestry is fluid. But for us in Africa, we are very particular about that thing called lineage. Called lineage, ancestral home. You still hear that thing today. Our ancestral home is also so placed. So that is what drives this pressure in Africa to say you have to get married.
Okay, so one of the things I want us to do now, as we're laying this foundation for where this conversation is headed, is to sort of do a diagnosis of what's happening in marriages today. If we are in agreement, we can say that marriages as we see it today is not as it used to be. And I don't know if we can look at some of those factors and I want you to speak to age of marriage, because that's a conversation now that has been right in a lot of places right now. Is there a right age for people to get married?
Yeah, I believe because of the responsibility that comes with marriage,
Mm.
there is an appropriate age to do that. What do I mean by that? Marriage demands maturity, physical maturity, emotional maturity, and of course, financial maturity. And if those things are going to be in place, there is an age that I believe somebody should begin to consider that. Marriage is not meant for children.
Yeah.
Marriage is not meant for somebody who is still trying to find himself or find his path. Because if you are not settled in your identity, you are going to bring crisis into that union that you are seeking. And we need to know, without any gainsay, that marriage comes with its own challenges naturally,
Yeah.
which we're going to get into as we go naturally. So you will be helping yourself a long way by not bringing undue pressure into it. So I believe that anyone who seeks to be married should be matured. Now, time have changed. In the days of our parents, many of us are surprised to realize that many of our parents got married so much earlier
Yes.
in their lives. When we did the calculation for my mom, we were laughing. She was around 18, 19 when she got to her husband's house. And if you see 18, 19-year-old lady today that says she wants to get married, there will be an alarm. So that's why I'm saying that the age is not really the physical age now. It's more of the maturity that goes with it. And because of the time we find ourselves, you go to school, everybody wants to have at least first degree and all that. If you factor all that into the journey, you are going to be in your early 20s before you are now beginning to say, okay, now I want to begin to look for marriage. Yes, so for me, that's the way it is. There's an appropriate age which should be matched by maturity, emotional, physical, and financial, to be able to meet the demands of marriage.
All right, thank you very much. Do you think that education and general awareness has affected marriages as we have it today?
Yes, very largely.
In what way?
Good, very largely, because there is something that is very fundamental to marriage, which awareness or education, if not balanced, if not well managed, is going to become a problem to it. And what is that thing? One fundamental principle to make marriage work is the idea of this submission to one another. I don't want to, we go into one another. That is, if I want to get married, I must be willing to let go of me, as in holding to my own interests, my own desire, my own plan, my own goal. Everything that is personal, that is self, has to give way for that which is now mutual. And what education today and exposure today is trying to do is encouraging people to defend, to protect, to amplify self. It's your life. It's your dream. It's your vision. Chase it, pursue it, accomplish it. Forgetting that the institution called marriage, not that it's against vision, but it's now saying that it can no longer be individual visions. Because when you now have two visions, that's what is called divisions. That's division. Is going to impact on the marriage. So how do we blend that? How do we blend the goals now? How do we blend the desires now? How do we blend the pursuit now to have this marriage? And that is one aspect that this so-called education and awareness and exposure have not helped us. There was a time when the focus was on girl child. Now, our ladies are empowered, they're self-sufficient, they're self-dependent and all that. Then marriage demands that you submit yourself to one another. Marriage demands that it's no longer about you or what you want. It's not about what we want, where we want to go, the family vision, the family dream, the family agenda. And that becomes a problem because now people need to be taught how to suspend, in quote, or how to find a way to fuse my vision into his vision or into our vision so that as a family we can have one vision. Because as long as it remains two visions, that's the vision.
And everybody now
wants to stand for what is their own.
Yeah, everybody's having dreams and
pursuit.
Yes,
and goals.
And all of that. All right. So thank you for that. In your own experience, right? You're a pastor. You've been married for 23 years. I know that a lot of people come to you for counseling and all of that, and you hear a lot of things. What do you think is the most common causes of conflict in marriages these days?
From my interaction with people, especially couples who are having challenges and those who have gone through it, I've come to realize something that most issues that erupt in marriages that become issues that cannot be easily handled were things that were overlooked when they were in
During what
courtship.
period? Okay.
There were questions that were not asked. There were communications that they jumped. Many people who, and this is being honest, we're not trying to blame anybody for anything. Things happen. Sometimes the best of intention still happened that it didn't work. But I've come to realize that many times we enter marriage with a lot of assumptions, not giving ourselves to asking critical questions. Because I've realized that what causes issues in marriage is not behavior. And I'm going to explain that as we go. It's not what somebody is doing. It is personality. It is who the person is. Because if it is what it's doing, you can change that. I don't like the way you talk to me. I don't like the way you do this. If it borders on behavior, it's easier to deal with. But most issues that end up dividing people are not on behavior. They're on personality. It's on who the person is. And it becomes very difficult to change a person from who he is.
Yeah.
So I said that I've realized that most of those things were things that were missed out at the level of courtship. There are things that were missed out at the level of when they say we are dating. Because I've realized that today, the focus in the days of dating are no longer the marriage. People are just enjoying themselves being in courtship. The vibe, the bliss, the outing, the dating, the going out. They don't spend good time into investigating where we are going. Who is this person? Like I tell you this, when you date a guy, for instance, don't be carried away by how he treats you. Only look at how he treats people around him.
Outside of you.
How does he talk to his sisters? How does he talk to his mother? How does he talk to his friends? So if he treats you only, specially, in a certain way, that you can't see reflecting in how he treats other people, you better be careful that might not be who he is. He's just doing that for you. And when we get into the marriage, who he is what we are going to begin to deal with. So I've realized that most of those conflicts comes from the person that we are dealing with. Because like I said, there are conditions that God put in place to make this thing work. And if we are not ready to bend to those things, we have problem. So if somebody is by nature selfish, if somebody is by nature laid back, if somebody is by nature heady, if somebody is by nature stubborn, and we bring those things together, it's not about what you are doing. Like I said, it's not the behavior. It's going to become a major issue. And so those things now begin to manifest financial issues, communication, intimacy,
neglect,
and all those things. And then we are trying to say, why are you not caring for your family? It's not about that. He doesn't want to care for his family. It's by nature. It's not that kind of person. He doesn't see why that should be done.
All right. So moving this, because you've mentioned something, I think it's leading us to the next phase of this conversation. Are conflicts normal in marriages as is in relationships? When I say conflicts, like,
of course,
are conflicts normal?
I've always told couples, conflicts are normal, should be expected. You don't be afraid of it, because when we resolve that, it makes us stronger. Why do we have conflicts? We have conflict because we're coming from different places. We're coming from different backgrounds. We're coming from different journeys. And so we're coming into a close space that we're going to begin to brush against one another. Especially if the courtship is done sincerely, if not one is not lying to another. When you get into marriage, there will be frictions, which is what we call conflict. For instance, something as simple as where I'm coming from When we first got married and we're starting our journey and all that, my wife was coming from a very compact nuclear family, daddy, mommy, children, and all
Yeah.
that. I'm coming from a very large
Family.
family, very, very large. So when we come together, for her, noise, uh, people, those kind of things are very new to her. Me, I'm coming from where is everybody goes. So when you have those kind of two people coming together, there is bound to be some frictions, which is what we now call conflict. And for marriages, it's normal that two people are coming together. You didn't grow up in the same home. Even children that grew up in the same home, they still have conflict, different opinions on things. So I believe that in marriage, conflict is not the problem. The problem is the willingness to address and to resolve those conflicts. In fact, if you have your union and you are starting, that's why I get scared when I hear people boast that me and my wife we have never quarreled. I'm like, okay, how did that happen?
How's the communication?
Yeah, how did that happen? Is it that somebody is completely subdued,
Yeah.
who has no opinion on anything? Because conflict does not mean the marriage is bad. Conflict means we are alive. We are both living in this union. I don't like this or I didn't like this. That's conflict. Okay, we sit down. What do we do about it? So the issue is never conflict. The issue is resolution of those conflicts when they happen.
I had so many questions because you've talked about resolving conflicts. Like 2 questions now. When should the couple know that this resolving this conflict, we've come to the point where it's beyond us to resolve? Because we cannot ignore that couples get to that point.
Yeah. I think one of the lies, I've always believed that, one of the lies I've been told couples in this generation is to say, keep everything in your marriage to yourself. Don't let in that idea of don't let in third party into your marriage. It sounds very good, but honestly, it might not be the best counsel to give. What I tell people that I'm privileged to counsel them is to say, the two of you will meet situations, are likely to meet situations in this journey that you might not be able to handle by yourself. The ideal thing is the two of you should agree. If we have a situation that we are not able to resolve, who can we speak to? I think that's what young couples will be encouraged to do. You cannot say you can resolve everything by yourself, because we're trying to work out something in church now that we're calling a relationship wellness clinic. I discovered, I'm just thinking about it, that most times, by the time people come up to say we have issues in our marriages, most times they're already late. We are dealing with crisis. But we're designing something that say, okay, can we have something that's like diagnostic, that can help couples to track their lives and identify areas of likely issues and resolve it before it becomes crisis. So it's clear, and we must not deceive ourselves, that we can have conflict situations that are beyond us. What we should do as couples is to agree on who we can talk to or where we can take our matter. But to say you don't talk to an external person might not be the best interest. So when do we know that this thing is beyond us? When we can't find solution among ourselves. Okay, something happened for the past 2 days, past 3 days, past 1 week, past 1 month. We've not been able to move past that issue. Each party is still believing that I'm right, you are right, and that thing is beginning to affect the health and the life of the union. You know, there are issues that we can overlook and we just move on. But when the issue is now becoming something that is becoming a point of reference to our journey forward, that is now affecting our communication, it's affecting our intimacy, it's affecting our family life, then I think time has come for us to speak up and find someone that we can talk to. And I think that's where the problem is. Most couples do not come to that point of agreement that we need to speak out. They keep managing it, they keep pushing it. The day the thing now finally explodes is beyond the point where they can deal with it. So when it is beginning to affect your communication, affect your intimacy as couples, affecting the family life, and you can't get yourself around it, I think the time has come for you to escalate it
Yeah.
and get somebody to talk to.
Hopefully you get help outside of yourself to talk to.
Yeah.
You've mentioned something about relationship wellness, and I'm hoping that before the end of this conversation, we can talk a little about that for the benefit of our viewers, and also in a situation where a couple have sought help outside of themselves, counseling probably from church, from mentors. Is there actually a point, or let me just phrase it that, do you believe that there is a point where a couple can actually not resolve the issues that they have? What people now call irreconcilable differences.
Well, thank you very much. I have prepared myself. I was hoping that will not come, or of course, there's always won't come in this conversation. As a person, this is me speaking specifically, I hate to admit that couples can come to a point where the journey cannot continue, personally.
Okay.
But life, experience, have shown that it does happen. That's the truth of the matter. That as much as we don't want it, as much as we try for it never to happen, the reality has shown that there are couples who come to a point where it is very clear that the journey cannot continue. Why? It's very simple. It takes two to tango. And two cannot work together except they agree. So we get to a point where one or both parties in that union are not ready, willing, or for every practical purposes cannot continue in that journey. What do I mean? Number one, if there are abuses, physical, emotional, financial abuses, that over time have not been able to clear, then you can't keep insisting that this thing continue. Number two, there are times somebody's heart has moved. I talked to a couple, crisis, and I talked to the man to man, and I asked him, tell me, this is man to man, off record. You as a person, do you believe that you have done everything that you can do or you should do to save this marriage? And he looked me straight in the eyes and said, no.
Wow.
I've not. And I'm not ready to.
Wow. So for that person, that heart has moved.
Because, let me tell you something. When they have left and they still stay, it becomes more dangerous. There is no way you can make that happen. Now, the reason why they left is not the issue we are discussing. That's another thing. We can say the reason is frivolous. We can say there's no reason, the reason. We can, whatever you want to give. But I'm saying that once they have left and they are still there, it becomes more difficult. So are there situations that can happen in a marriage that going forward becomes practically, socially, spiritually impossible? Yes.
And at those points, is it all right to call it quits?
Are pushing me. I will never, and I've never advocated for separation, for divorce, flippantly, frivolously. Because we're dealing with a generation now where the first thing is, if it's not working, let's go. Somebody asked me, sir, tell me the truth. I said, yes. Has it ever crossed your mind that you want to leave? I said, leave where?
To where?
To where? I'm not lying to you. It has never. I said, why? Because it is never on the table. That option for me is not on the table. But I'm not saying that happens for everybody. It doesn't. And I'm being sincere. There are situations where practically, by every practical purposes, it's not possible to move forward. Somebody asked me, as a pastor, at what point, because they know my reluctance, they know my disposition towards this, at what point will you say it's okay for them to go? Number one, when life is threatened. When life is threatened.
That's a case of abuse.
Abuse that has led to. Number two, if one person have gone. You know, it used to be so funny in those days in Christianity that a woman will leave, get married to another man, continue with her life, and they will still be telling the other man that you cannot marry. Paul clearly said, if an unbelieving man or an unbelieving woman wants to go, let him or her go. The believing partner is not under any bondage. So I'm saying that if life is threatened, I'm saying that if the other party has gone, either physically gone, mentally gone, emotionally gone, and there is nothing happening here, if there is a case of established infidelity, unfaithfulness in that marriage, which exposes the whole thing to crisis and they cannot navigate out of it, situations come where we just have to agree that this did not work. And and I'm going to go ahead of myself to clearly state something. Somebody asked me, but Bible says, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. And I said, yes.
How does morals and ethics, do they play a part in the thriving of a nation, a society?
As of today, the nation that the whole world consider to be a nation governed by rule of law, which is the United States of America, has the largest number of prisoners. In fact, statistics says they have close to 25% of the prisoners in the world. What does that tell you? The presence of laws does not stop a people from evil and wickedness. That there is a system that punishes it is not enough deterrent for people from doing wrong. So what helps human to be humane, to live in a system that is livable? It's not just laws, as good as laws are, not saying laws are not necessary, but it's going to be a function of the morality of the people.
All right, thank you guys for staying with us. We're still in this conversation, and it was good we had that breather because that's a lot that's been going on. You guys need to see the people in the studio coming to ask questions. We'll have room for your questions in the comment section. Like, you can ask questions, and we'll make sure that we respond to every comment and every question that you ask during this program. All right, thank you so much, Pastor D, again. So let's see how we can do justice to the other parts of this conversation. And moving along, I would like us to talk directly about divorce. We have established that couples can actually come to a point where, even after seeking help outside of themselves, seeking help from the church, we have come to the conclusion that these cannot move on again. So in simple, plain question, at what point do you, as a person and as a Christian, as a pastor, say that, okay, this divorce should go on?
They came to Jesus and they asked him and they said, should a man just put his wife away for any reason? And Jesus said, come on, that's not what it was said. And they said, but Moses allowed us to give her a letter of divorce and let her go. And he said, well, because of the hardness of your heart, Moses permitted that, but in the beginning it was not so. What does that mean? God knows man, understands that there is a place where the will of man cannot be override by anyone. And so he allows that. So if you go back to what they were talking about, there are instances in the Old Testament that God said, well, if a man wakes up and his heart is out of this thing, his heart is out of it, the woman is no longer loved, or he found an uncleanness in her. Bible never defined what that uncleanness is. The man found an uncleanness and said, I'm not doing again. So let her go. Don't because of that reduce her food, reduce your duty as a man to her, and reduce what again? About three things. And in today's language, it means that don't cut off care, provision, intimacy. Don't keep somebody in your house and keep tormenting her. If you know that you don't want again, let her go. That's what the Old Testament says. Or it says if the man marries another woman, And then it's now treating this one lightly. Let her go. So what does that mean? That means in that scheme of things, God, who is the author of everything, who knows man, knows that a point comes in this journey that you cannot force somebody to continue. Where you can't insist that, which is the error church has been making over the years. Insisting and forcing people to go on when they don't want to go on, when it has become practically impossible for them to go on. So at what point do we say this has to be, like I said, if life is strengthened, that's serious abuse, or if the factors that make marriage workable and enjoyable has broken down, issue of care, issue of intimacy, issue of sincerity. Number 3, if issue of faithfulness has come into it, where the heart of the two of them does not trust in each other again, where after every move for peaceful reconciliation has failed, I believe that people can go so that life can continue. I strongly believe so. I will choose that over death. I will choose that over unhappiness that is has no end. I will choose that over abuse that is incessant and continuous. I will choose that over a life of continual regret. I will choose that. I will choose that over children that are not tended to and cared for. So I will rather have that continue in a story that is not going anywhere. So I think that is at that point we can say, okay, these people.
It's after doing all, it's actually not a sentence that this is how life should continue forever.
And I think there is always one item we forget in this narrative: the people in it.
Okay.
It's easier for me to say manage, endure, continue, because I'm not the one in it.
Yeah.
Do you know there are many instances that the woman or the man is not even given the right to express?
Yeah.
And go and stay. And go and continue.
Yeah.
Without
You're
listening.
talking, this is from external people
Yes. Parents, pastors, families.
He's still dead to us, part.
Yes, don't go and continue. In fact, sometimes they tell you, you want to put our name in disrepute. Have you seen anybody in this family divorced before? Have you seen anybody in this family this, that? And without listening to the person in it, because like I said, a decision to walk away from marriage, especially for women, is tough. Societal consideration, family consideration. It's tough for somebody to come to a place to say, I want to go. I think we need to listen to them.
We need to listen and pay attention.
Honestly, we need to.
We hear a lot of times people give advice that if it was just the both of you, it would be easy for us to say you should go on your separate ways. But because of the children, how important is it to
I've realized that, it's very important. We have to give consideration to children. But I've also realized that there are some situations at the end of the day, the children benefit better by the two of them going.
Okay.
What do I mean? There is a kind of union that cannot raise well-adjusted children. Because living together is not just that we are sharing the same roof. We are also sowing seed in the hearts of those children. So we're having a model that we pray should not be replicated. And we're having children daily observing that model. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand.
We are having a model of marriage because we don't want to separate. But we are praying daily that none of our children should replicate this thing that we have.
Yeah.
How is that going to happen? And we are daily showing them
it's what
that
you get
model.
to see every day.
I know a family where the daughter wakes up one day and was talking with her mother in the kitchen. And was asked, you know the way children ask questions. You never know where they are going. They just start. And then you thought you are just talking. I like the way you walk. Or say thank you. I like the way you work hard and you make money. Say thank you. And the girl said, okay, me too, I will work very hard. So that when I grow up, I'll be the one paying the rent, paying the school fees, and taking care of everything in the house.
Wow.
Just like you.
Wow.
And the mother was crying. Because she lives in a marriage where the man does nothing. And the daughter grew up to see that as the model. Now the woman is now crying that the daughter wants to replicate what she's seeing in her.
Standard.
So when we say because of the children, we need to understand at what level. What are we talking about? Because there are some environment that children should not even be in.
Yeah.
I've met young adults who will tell you they don't want to marry. And the only reason why they don't want to marry is what they saw at home. It's the pattern that was shown to them at home. They don't want to have anything to do with marriage. So how has that union now that we say it's because of the children, how has it helped them? In many cases, it has made them worse.
Yeah.
It has given their husband or their wife to be additional problem that could have been avoided. So when we say because of children, please let's define it. Because sometimes they would have been better without that situation around them.
So a couple has come to this point where they are now divorced. What's the hope for them in another happily ever after, if I can use that? What's the hope, or okay, let me start by asking, what is your idea of divorced people getting remarried? And what is the provision for that in the Bible as well?
Well, like I said, in the Bible, Paul said, if the man leaves or the woman leaves, who is an unbeliever. And quickly, let me speak to that. Because people have queried, what is that unbeliever? Who can you call an unbeliever? Jesus gave us the pattern. What did he say? If your brother, he starts as a brother, so that means we are Christians.
Yeah.
Have an issue against you, and you go to him to settle it, he will not listen to you. He said, bring another person as a witness. He will not listen to the two of you. Take it to the church for church to intervene. He will not listen to the church. He said, after that, let him be unto you as a Gentile, as an unbeliever.
Yeah.
So if you bring that to marriage, we're having issue as husband and wife. We bring people to help us. The church came in, the pastor came in, everybody came in, and the matter, your guy refused until refused. According to Jesus' principle, he said, let that man now be as an unbeliever. So if he leaves, Paul says, if that unbelieving brother leaves, the sister is not under any bondage. So that means she can move on with her life, or he can move on with his life. That I also agree with. But statistically, psychology statistically says second marriage has 67% chance of failure.
So it's not automatic that this will work.
Second marriage, there's a 67% chance that it will fail. In fact, it is more riskier than the first one.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's not an Eldorado. So just say, okay, the first one did not work, I will do the second one. Statistically speaking, you are more at risk that the second one will fail than the first one. So what does that mean? This is not, and that's what this is not something you want to do frivolously. If you are reconsidering it, it is more hard work than the first one. Because now you are married, maybe there are children. Now your responsibility have increased, your level of awareness has increased, a whole lot of things has increased. So it cannot even be done the way it was before. So it has to be something more intentional, more deliberate, more there will be more scrutiny, and a whole lot of things to align. Now you are bringing a whole family, maybe the other person is bringing a whole family, and then you now have to, this is not like, there's so much to go into it. But me, personally, I believe it should be reconsidered. It should be reconsidered. If age is on your side, children are still very young, the journey is still very long, and the same rule that applies to widow, who says they should marry. The only condition it gives is that they should marry in the Lord. I believe that's the same thing that applies. They should marry in the Lord. Because we might say it will be short and it will be long, this journey of life. We might think it will happen, and it's so you have children now, you are raising kids and all that, and you have friends and all that. But as you grow older, your circle reduces. And that's when companionship becomes more important.
Yeah.
So it's just some people say, my children are now my husband, my children are now my wife. I'll just be looking at, okay, they will soon go. They will start their own life. And it's not even now. That is when the fact that there is somebody else to share life with, even if it is to quarrel with, become important. So I think it should be reconsidered. That it failed the first time, that we made a mistake, that it did not work. For whatever reason, we find ourselves where we find ourselves. We should give it a consideration.
Knowing all this now, would you recommend counseling or from biblical counseling for people who are intending to remarry? And I'm talking especially now, not just people who are walking into getting married for the first time.
Yeah, I think the first thing to do is the church should be open to that conversation.
Okay.
A lot of churches are still not open to that conversation. There is so much stigma
Yeah.
that is attached to it that we need to address. Things happen. Things happen. There are churches, they won't allow them to minister. They won't allow them in leadership. Yeah, they won't, because they are out of marriage. And to me, that could be very, very unfair. Because we need to. I read this book by one of the men that I consider as greatest figure in 20th century Christianity. That's Kenneth Hagin. He wrote a book about marriage, divorce, and remarriage. Excellent book, and I read it. And he was saying that in their days, in the early 1950s, 1960s, people who are single parents, in fact, some of them, the partner has gone away, remarry, and continue his life. They don't even know where he is. They will still not allow them to function in church. That a pastor was surprised that somebody who was divorced, gave his life to Christ, was baptized in the Holy Spirit, was speaking in tongues. They were surprised that God gave them the gift of the Holy Spirit. Because according to their doctrine, then, if you are living
You're out of.
So I think we should be open to it. What I tell people is, these things we're discussing is not a general rule. Treat every case on its own merit. Hear them out. Get to know what happened. And then let's have that conversation to start with. So that people know that, okay, if this happened, these are the ways to go about it. These are the things to do about it.
Right.
I would rather counsel people to remarry. Paul said it. It's better to marry than to burn. And that bond there is talking about passion. We are human. We have hormones in our bodies.
Yeah.
So I would rather have people get married than living in immorality. I'd rather have people get married than one man is coming today, another one is coming tomorrow, another. It's not going to solve the problem we're trying to solve in the first place. But the church must be open to have conversation about these things and to talk to people on this matter and let them know there is hope.
And there's provision.
There's provision for that in this thing.
All right. We're rounding up this conversation, and I remember I said I was going to ask you to talk a little on the relationship wellness, especially because you said it was in church.
Yeah.
Let's know what that is about and if it is something that can help the public as well.
Relationship wellness is a ministry that we're trusting God. We are still working on it. And like I said, it came to me from the position of most of the times when we get involved in counseling, we are dealing with crisis, especially in marriage. Why can't we take our cars for services?
Yeah.
We go for medical checkup. It's not that we are waiting to break down before we check out. The same thing should be done to relationships. And I can tell you for free, how long somebody has been married does not in any way immune that union to crisis. People still separate after 35 years of marriage. So it's not about we have been in this thing for long. No. So relationship wellness is a system where couples, and we have defined in such a way that it applies broadly now. So what I mean is, couples go, we sit down, we do assessment, we ask you a set of questions, you answer them. There's a way those things are rated on various aspects of life and relationship. And the whole essence is to identify what we consider to be the red flags in that union. Even though this marriage is doing well, but these are your weak points in this marriage that you need to pay attention to. That if you don't pay attention to, this thing can become a crisis.
Yeah.
So it's about identifying a crisis before it becomes a crisis, and then to deal with it. So, and we don't rate it general and say, this union scores 75%. No, that's not what we're saying. You can have 98, and the 2% where you failed can still stumble, can still sink that union. So it's not about the overall score. It's about identifying the areas of vulnerabilities and attending to them before they become a problem. Now we have spread it out to cater for people who are in courtship. We help you assess that your relationship and identify areas of vulnerabilities. That this, your courtship, this and this and these are areas of vulnerability that you need to work on before you get into marriage. You remember at the beginning, we said crisis in marriage. Many of them are the things we carry into it.
Yeah.
So that relationship wellness help those in courtship to identify areas in their relationship that they need to work on so that they don't carry that problem into their marriage. We also have it for singles intending to marry. You are not in a relationship, but you intend to marry one day. It helps you to identify areas in your life that you need to work on.
Important.
Because success in marriage is not about finding the right partner.
Okay.
It's about being the right partner. You see, I told them in church that you can be praying and fasting for what you are not ready for.
Oh, yeah.
Many people are desiring marriage, but in reality, they are not ready for marriage. They are not ready. So the relationship wellness helps you to measure your level of readiness. It's not in age. It's not in what you are saying. In attitude, in character, in maturity, in openness. Are you truly ready for relationship? So it helps you identify those areas as you begin to work at it. So the whole essence of this relationship wellness ministry, we call it clinic, is to diagnose and prevent crisis before it becomes irreconcilable issues, which I believe helps more than trying to put out a fire. Can we avoid the fire in the first place rather than now trying to put it out? That is what this relationship wellness is all about.
Something I think I'm personally looking out for. I'll look out for that, and will hope to be a part of this clinic. It sounds like a very novel idea, and there's nothing as good as trying to tackle a problem from foundation up.
Before it becomes crisis.
Before it becomes crisis. So, rounding up, you're talking to a couple right now who are going through stuff, who are going through a crisis, who are in crisis, who is divorced. What would you say to them?
I will let's start from those who are in marriage. I will say the two parties should do their best to make it work.
Okay.
Do their best to make it work. We are living in a time where we don't give what I consider to be the due consideration to the issue of marriage. I think most of us come into it having rooms, already making provision that we can walk away.
Out.
But can we come with the mindset that we want this thing to work and doing our best to make it work? That's for one state. Number two, we're having issues in our marriage. We're having issues at hand. Can we be sincere and honest about what is our problem and putting it on the table for one another to start with? Babe, this thing is not working. And presenting that issue with the humility of heart, expecting the other person to approach it from the same position. Okay, putting aside our preferences, what is the problem? And then we look at it. Now it's something we cannot handle ourselves. Can we be honest enough to admit to ourselves? I spoke with my friend, and he said, my wife, we have discussed, we need therapy. And let's look for somebody who does not know any of us, a neutral person to talk to. I say, excellent. Can we be honest enough to say we need help? Because we have been taught in this generation that we can tackle everything by ourselves.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, that is not correct. We need help. And we seek the help. And we are sincere in seeking the help. That's another level. So we go, we talk, we open ourselves up, we work at it. My goodness, we work at it. If all has been done and said, and one party, for whatever reason, and I keep saying that, the heart is out of it. You can only force, that's what my grandmother would say, you can only force a horse to the river. You cannot force it to drink the water. It doesn't matter how much I love you or I love anybody and I want this marriage to stand to succeed. If one party in that thing does not want it, I'm sorry. they have to go. That will be better than what the other side will be. So these are the different stages. And if now it has happened, life has happened, the other person have gone, or this one have gone, and we are now here, I'm also for giving it a second look, because I'm 53 years old and I've seen things. This journey is long. When God said it's not good for a man to be alone, he knows what he was talking about.
Yeah.
He knows what he was talking about. We can give remarriage a consideration and go at it with counsel, with guidance, with openness, with trust. There are people now, they have spent like 30-something years in their second marriage.
Wow.
Yeah. I will give an example and we close this thing. Popular one that we all know. This woman, what's her name? Joyce Meyer. Joyce Meyer came from a very terrible background of abuse and all that, got into the first marriage just to escape home, and the thing went brutally bad. And then he married the second husband, Dave. And the two of them have been married now. Both of them were in their second marriages.
Wow.
Married now for almost 30-something years. And life has been beautiful.
That's the 33% that makes it happen.
I'm telling you. So it can
That's
happen.
the
In fact,
33%.
1% chance is a chance.
What is the chance? 1% chance. Thank you so much, Pastor D, for such a wonderful conversation. It's always an honor doing this.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you all so much for sticking with us till the end of this episode of AskPastorD. I am very sure that you've gotten clarity, you've gotten answers to those throgging questions. And if by any chance any question that you have has not been dealt with, we'd like to let you know that we're always open. Pastor D is always open to take your questions. So you can reach out to us in the comment section, send us a DM. This has been AskPastorD. My name is Chinonso Checkers, and AskPastorD is powered by Abuja City Church. And you want to know us, you can find us on all social media platforms at Abuja City Church. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you all, the AskPastorD crew. God bless you all. Until we come your way again, bye-bye.